Welcome to this episode of YouTube where I'm talking about the phases of an introduction, and I do apologize, it's been 10 days since the introduction, but it is a long process for her to make sure that the pups are actively engaging within the exhibit pack. So this is some footage prior to the introduction, and again I want to talk a little bit about Luna's situation, but you can see the pack typically is pretty calm, all rallying, their tails are wagging. Prior to the introduction, we gave them a little bit of stimulus, so that is a scent rolling behavior there from Luna, but definitely notice Luna's back right leg is one of those things that we've dealt with over the years, but you can see as even she scent rolls or she stands there, it's just not as strong as we know her history, and we know that there were issues with her from a pup, but she's still engaging fairly well within the pack and moving around pretty good. Denali always into scent rolling and any behaviors that are exciting. Denali's typically involved, so we always want to watch the pack prior to the introduction. We also want to watch the pups prior to the introduction, and so here we have Axel on the left, Grayson on the right, and notice Grayson's tail is tucked. So we knew we had personality differences between these pups. Axel is the bolder of the two pups. Grayson is the more cautious of the two pups. And we started to see a little bit of pattern there prior to the introduction about focus. I've talked about that over and over again. Luna seemed to have a very strong predatory drive, ears pricked forward, very alert to these pups. We knew there was intensity going into this introduction, and we had been trying to block her, to work with her, to try to calm her of that intensity. And we didn't really have a lot of focus on the pups. We certainly wanted Grayson to feel comfortable, but at this point we felt that if we could control Luna and have her a little bit calmer in the greeting, that the pups would just kind of fall in line. And so that was our premise, and that was our idea going into it. So again, I don't know what drives Luna. She has had a nutritional deficiency since she was young, so this could have been the formative years of her brain may not have formed right, or she, due to a nutritional deficiency, she may have a stronger predatory drive. She may have a chemical imbalance. We don't really know. We do know that she does have a physical abnormality that causes her discomfort, and that could be a threat display based on the fact that it's a preemptive response to pain. We also do know that her tail is dropped down very low because of her body formation, and that lockdown tail may very well send her brain into a more of a threatening or defensive posture, because a low tail is a threat posture on wolves. And so a lot of theories, don't really know. We try to work with each individual wolf and try to understand them. So the day of the introduction, we started with Luna and Aiden first. And again, we're trying to do a little bit of body work, a little bit of relaxation with Luna, trying to keep her calm. We waited about an hour, and you can see the pups are very calm in the vestibule. They had access in and out of the building in the vestibule, but Luna was just agitated. A lot of panting, a lot of pacing, a lot of focus. She certainly did not settle down within that first hour. So we kept working with her and tried to get her to relax, tried to get her into a calmer state of mind. When we felt we had that, we did open the gate and bring her into the vestibule, but within seconds she was just defensive towards the pups. And like I said, our job is to protect these pups, and we decided at that time that Luna needed to step out of the introduction, and we moved Luna right into the Wolf Care Center and then continued the introduction with the pups and Aiden. Aiden did extremely well. You can hear him whining here. He has been through this before. He is a good pack leader. He's not showing any dominance. Notice his tail posture is very, very calm, not fearful. The pup's tail posture is fearful, primarily because they were a little bit traumatized by Luna's response, and so they were a little intimidated coming into the introduction. And that's something that we have to work with, and that's not how they started. They started out very calm, as you saw with Luna next to the fence, and got a little bit, again, intimidated by the response from Luna. So that changed the dynamics a little bit. So when we brought them into the bigger enclosure, we brought all the males together. Everybody was on board without showing any dominance toward the pups. And the pups came out into the exhibit, continued to show a little bit of anxiety. So what we did, Aiden walked around and just whined. I also put a chair in between the pack holding area, and so the pups could come in and out of the pack holding area. And I could block the adult wolves coming in and out, and I could control it for the pups a little bit. Axel nose to nose with Aiden. Axel actually feeding with Denali, actually taking Denali's food in what we call a little bit of a stare down, and Bolts being our biggest surprise, really being very, very social with the pups, and actually to the extent that Bolts started to kind of guard the pups. So we let especially Grayson have as much comfort as he wanted with wolf care staff throughout the entire week, in the enclosure multiple times to try to get them to relax. But ultimately, it was Axel who became the relaxation for Grayson, and that was very important to us, that Grayson felt comfort from Axel. And eventually, as the introduction week went on, it was really Aiden, I think, that Axel sought out, and Grayson followed suit. Grayson seems to be a little intimidated by Denali, and Denali is a big wolf, and he also is a very socially engaging wolf. He likes to go into play bows, he likes to chase, he gets very excited with pups. He's like a big pup himself, but that's a little terrifying for Grayson. So when we saw on the introduction day that they were able to relax, roll on back, again, a resting posture, notice the tails are very relaxed, and that was important for us to see. Here's Aiden coming over and checking him out, but Denali kind of blocked by Bolts, and you saw a little lip curl of Bolts towards Aiden there. That was something that we didn't quite expect. Bolts would be guarding the pups from the other males. That's since subsided a little bit, but wolf care staff have to really watch who engages at the fence, because even when you're trying to feed the pups, Bolts, if he doesn't know you, will be a little bit offensive. So for Luna, that meant she is out of the pack for a period of time. We don't know how long. We don't know what her future is. We do know that we need to get a better assessment of her physical condition. One thing we do know is since we've moved her out, she's completely relaxed. Her body is a completely different animal. Her facial responses, she is not seeking out the pack. She's not anxious about being out. She's resting very well. And I think there's probably something to that is important for us to understand, is that she may very well have been the personality that she has been because she's needed to defend herself because of a perceived weakness. So we are seeing Luna, and Luna is allowed to come in and out of the Wolf Care Center. She has the entire pack holding area to herself. She's able to come in and out. She's feeding. She's resting. As a matter of fact, when Wolf Care staff stay at night, they see her in the kennel there resting all night long. Even when we're feeding the pack, and the pups had their first feeding on last Saturday, Bolts and the pups feeding. Denali had a little bit first and was a little defensive towards the pups, but for the most part, Denali and Aiden are letting these pups feed what they want. Pups are still being fed multiple times a day, but even this didn't really get Luna excited. She was resting comfortably. Now, like I said, we can see, she can see Grizzer, and that's the view. This is a view from Grizzer's enclosure to Luna, and you can see Luna's not excited at all about Grizzer. Remember, those two have never met. Luna was born in 2012. Grizzer was retired in 2011. Grizzer had issues with Shadow because Grizzer always tried to test Shadow. So we didn't have a really good ability to merge retirement in Shadow and Grizzer's area. And not saying that we're going to do that with Luna, but that is an option that we're going to keep open. Our goal would be to try to get Luna back in the pack, but we have to get a physical assessment of her, and we're looking at a lot of different options with her. So with Grizzer, we're happy to report he's back up to over 122 pounds, so he's gained all the weight that he lost during kind of that chaotic construction season, and he's doing quite well. He's not obsessed about Luna being over there. He sees her. Granted, he still marks his spots where his food is. That was probably more for wolf care benefit than Luna's benefit. But you can see he's very relaxed. He's got a lot of vegetation. He can get cover. He's doing quite well. So that's where we're at for the current status. And I'll try to keep up now every week. But the biggest focus right now is Grayson's comfort zone and trying to figure out where Luna's at physically and I get an assessment of how she's doing physically and where that drives her behaviorally. So that's it for this week's YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.